It's not every day that I think about controlling my Nintendo Switch using a Game Boy Advance, or even using emulation on my iPhone with a wireless controller that is my Game Boy Advance. And that has now become a reality thanks to a company called Inside Gadgets, who have created this cartridge here that uses a 02 chip inside of it, allowing it to connect to Android devices, iPhone devices, and even your Nintendo Switch. And because it's a cartridge, it can work with a Nintendo DS and even an analog pocket. So I wanted to share this with you. It is a little bit pricey, coming in at 90 bucks, but it's doing something that I have never done before. And for that, I'm gonna make a video on it and show you exactly how it works. So in terms of how it works, and it's going to be a fairly short video today, you insert it into your Game Boy Advance, turn on the screen, and you'll be greeted with a beautiful user interface. But this is all you need. This is all you need is text. So here you can either sync it up to a Nintendo Switch, Windows, and your X input is for iPhone, your Android devices, Mac OS, and it can even be used as a keyboard as well. But I want to connect this to my Nintendo Switch. So I'm simply going to open up my Nintendo Switch here, unlock it, go into my, so you can see it kind of just disconnected there because I was setting that up. Going to my controller settings and pairing mode, and I'm going to click switch left here, pair it up and go into pairing mode. And you can see it just did it there automatically because it already knows that I've done this before. And there it is. It's that simple, in all honesty. Usually you click the pairing mode for a little bit longer, it pops up, you press a few buttons and you're all synced. And now I'm actually controlling my Nintendo Switch with a Game Boy Advance. So let's jump into Mario Kart and show you how it works. Ugh, I'm definitely not using that one. No, thank you. It's all about the teacup. Where's my teacup? There we go. Now, obviously, there are more controls on your Joy-Cons than there are on a Game Boy Advance. You just have to deal with it, okay? Look at the latency. Look at the latency. Like, kind of impressive, you know. Like, never would I thought I'd be playing Mario Kart 8 on my Nintendo Switch with a Game Boy Advance as its controller. Like, yeah, it's a little trickier to play and direct on a D-pad, but hey, I am all for it. Now, you won't want to be playing like Legend of Zelda on this. But very basic games that you only really need a few buttons to play is going to be your go-to. And you might be saying, Brandon, but how do I get out into the actual Nintendo Switch home menu? Well, there are shortcuts as well that have been mapped onto this cartridge. So for example, if I press down and select, that's your Nintendo Switch home button, which then you can get into. You can back in if need be. Just look at that. The cool thing as well is if I wanted to, I could turn off this, take out the cartridge, and if I wanted to use my analog pocket, for example, it's just as simple. It works with any device that uses a Game Boy Advance cartridge, including the Nintendo DS. Should you want to use that as a controller, it's completely up to you. Play cartridge, and I think that it should remember the last thing it connected to. So start, connect to the last device. Will this work? And there you go. Look at that. I'm in. And there you have it. It working silky smooth on the analog pocket. Oh no, it got me. So it's slightly more awkward to set up with an iPhone because not only do you have to go into the Android settings, which in the setup guide it says I have to do the X input, but actually it prefers being seen as an Android device. But you actually have to go into the Delta emulator and set up your device here. So what I'm going to do is actually go into my settings, press B for Android, hold sync, It already knows it already, but it is the 8BitDo02 gamepad. I click on that. That will have synced up. And I go into my settings within Delta to click on the 8BitDo0 gamepad. And I can now play my emulation games using a Game Boy Advance, which is pretty cool. Again, latency is really good, works really well, and because this is a Game Boy Advance game, it's just feels perfect.
What I needed.
Look at that. This is just fun. You're probably thinking, that's not worth $89. Maybe not to most of you, but there's some of you out there that are weird like me and just love this kind of stuff. It's just, I'm using my Game Boy Advance as a wireless controller. What the hell? Oh, damn it. So that's pretty much the video. In terms of my complaints, the UI could have been a little bit better, admittedly. You know, they could have made things look a little fancier on there, and they could have got rid of some of the bugs in terms of having to choose Android to get into the iPhone emulation and that. But you know, Inside Gadgets are creating this very, very niche product here for those that want to play their Nintendo Switch with their Game Boy Advance, or emulation on both the iPhone and the Nintendo Switch Online, should you go down that route with a Game Boy Advance as well. So I thought I'd bring this to your attention and give you a kind of heads up and a hands-on video, because it is a really cool gadget that I enjoy playing on, and it's a unique experience, especially now the emulators are coming to the iPhone. So there you have it. A big thanks to Inside Gadgets for sending that out, and if you do want to snag it, there are links below as well. Thanks. Catch you in the next one.